السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته طلابي وطالباتي الأعزاء في مساق Research Methodology. هذه مقاطع من الفيديو تشرح طريقة استخدام مايكروسوفت وورد لكتابة المراجع العلمية والاقتباسات، سواء كانت بستايل ABA أو IEEE أو شيكاغو أو أي ستايل من ستايلات كتابة المراجع العلمية والاقتباسات. على كل الأحوال كما شرحت لكم فإن النوعين المعتمدين هما ABA و IEEE. هذه الفيديوهات تكمل بعضها بعضا، ربما يكون الشرح هناك في تكرار ولكن في استخدام أمثلة جديدة مختلفة عن الآخر. بعضها يشرح بشكل مباشر عبر استخدام الوورد، وبعضها يعطي فكرة نظرية ابتداء، وفي تنوع في نهاية الفيديو للمراجع العلمية. ربما تكون الأكثر شهرة هي استخدام المواقع الإلكترونية، وكذلك المجلات العلمية المحكمة والمؤتمرات العلمية المحكمة. أتمنى أن تستفيدوا بشكل مباشر من هذه الفيديوهات، حيث أن كتابة المراجع العلمية تعتبر من متطلبات إنجاز البروبوزل الذي مطلوب منكم تسليمه في نهاية المساق. كتابة المراجع العلمية عليه درجات واضحة في نموذج تقييم البروبوزل المرفق لديكم، وبالتالي لابد من الاهتمام بكتابة المراجع. عندما تتعلم ذلك في هذا المساق ستحتاجه بالتأكيد في مشروع تخرج 1 ومشروع تخرج 2، وبالتأكيد إذا قررت أن تواصل دراستك الأكاديمية في الدراسات العليا ماجستير ودكتوراه. أتمنى لكم التوفيق والاستفادة المباشرة من هذه الفيديوهات التعليمية.
Lost, confused, unsure about how to add citations and references into Microsoft Word? Well, I'm here to help you. I'm Uncle Mike. Let's take a look at an imaginary assignment built on Zorath Electronics. Everything in here is an imaginary, but it does show us how we can use citations and references in a document. This is made very easy by Microsoft Word. Let's go down into the document. And so we have our information, and you notice that we have things here called citations. And if you're in college or university, you know that your teachers are screaming at you to put them into a document. Let's show you how easy that is to do. First thing, let's go up to the top of the screen, check on the references box, and we find this area right here, citations and bibliography. So when you are doing the work and you're finding the information, a lot of students will find information in a book or a website or something, and then they'll write it into their document and then go try to find where the source was later. And of course, that is not going to work very well. Here, by clicking on Manage Sources, it allows you to put that information in as soon as you find it. Let's concentrate on this side of the screen. So, current list of materials used in this document. Zorath Electronics. This is the About Us. I'm going to click on it to show you what it means, and hit the edit button, and you'll see this was a website. This drop-down list shows you there's many choices. You can use book section, a journal article, a report. You also see down here we have things such as an interview, sound recording, many options. But this was a website. And when this opens up, you fill in the information that you can. Now, this website was not written by a specific person. It was written by the company, Zorath, so it is a corporate author. It was the About Us page. Of course, the name of the website is Zorath Electronics. We know it was done in 2003. We don't know the month or the date, so they're blank, but here's the URL to get to that site. We're done with it. Let's check another one. This one, Zorath Electronics Corporate Report. If we take a look at that, we'll see we put it in as a report. So again, a corporate author, and then the actual title of the document, the year it was published, and who published it, what city it was published in. Now you notice these have check mark next to them. Each check mark indicates that this reference was used as a citation in the document. So let me just explain to you that as a professor, when I click into your document, I'll look here. And anything that does not have a check mark should not be in your bibliography. It means you did not use it in the document, so it shouldn't be there. So let's close this for just a moment and take a look. Let's say we wanted to move down here, and this right-hand man, made him up of course, shows many of the same characteristics as the owner of the company. Where'd you get that information? I'm going to click in here. And now that this material has been added into the references, if I want to add a citation, I make sure that I have the APA style selected, and the latest one is the 6th. Click on the citation, and there's all the documents that were listed as references. This one, let's say it came from the Canadians in Action document. As soon as I click there, it puts the citation into place. Here's a quote. Take us from here to there. That quote, and I want to show you where that quote came from. Right after that, I'm going to insert it. Let's say it came from the same document. Boom. Now that's been inserted into place. Let's try one more. Down a little further on the page, we see we have a TED video. It's an imaginary one, but let's click on here, and since it has been put in as a source, I look for the TED Ideas Worth Spreading. Click on that. Boom. It gets inserted into the document. Okay, so those are the citations put in the right places. But the beautiful thing of this is not just the citations. It's at the end of the whole thing. You go to your blank page and you'll click on your bibliography and go ahead, click bibliography. And all those documents that you've put in as references will be put in APA style, because that's the style you've indicated, into a bibliography. The work is all done for you. There's the Canadians in Action, TED Ideas Worth Spreading. They've all been put in there for you. So let Word do the work for you. There's no reason for you to do all the extra work when it can be done automatically.
To a Microsoft Word document. So if you don't have a master file, a clean copy of the Science of Sitting, I've put a master file in Student Common under BUAD 304, Master Files, and then it's under T for the Science of Sitting. So this is a copy that hasn't been changed into a newsletter, just so we can practice. Now, adding APA referencing, you click on References tab in the ribbon, then under Style, you make sure it's set to APA. Most of the documents that you open here in New Zealand are set by default to APA. Then the next step you need to do is click on Manage Sources. Eventually you'll have a master list, and then whatever document you have open will the source will appear in the current list. So to add something to your master list, you simply click on New, and then the story that we've been typing is actually from an article in a periodical. So periodical means something that comes out frequently, either a weekly magazine, a monthly magazine, etc. And you choose this from the drop-down list. So click on Article in a Periodical. Then to add the author, instead of trying to type it in here, I highly recommend clicking on Edit. Then we type the last name, which is James. Then click in for first name and type Beth. Then we simply click on Add, and then these are the names, or their name, that will be added to the author. So we click OK. Then Microsoft Word sorts out how to do your APA referencing in here. Then for the title, it's The Science of Sitting, and the periodical itself was a monthly magazine called Runner's World. It was published in 2018, and the month was December. Now, pages, this is extra information. You don't have it in your document. It actually came from pages 30 to 32, so please type those in for me. Then under here, show more biography fields. We need to click on that and then add the editor, which is also new information for you. So please add Lisa Holmes to the information. The publishers were Sole Motive. Pty Limited. And then the edition was the Australia and New Zealand edition. So that's all the information we have, and we click OK. So what we've done is simply add the information to our master list, and it's also on our current document. Then we close this. Now to add it to our document, we erase the stuff that was already typed in, and next to sourced from, we then click on Insert Citation, and this is the information that we have added into Manage Sources, so we click on that. That's how we get the Janes, 2018. Now if you notice when you click on it, it's actually a field, and you can update the field at any time. Then once we've added the citation, we can also add a bibliography depending on the document we're typing up. So if this was a report or an essay, we would then go to Layout, Breaks, and Next Page. Your bibliography and referencing always appears on a page of its own. Then back to References, click on Bibliography, and choose a style. I'll choose this first one here. Then Microsoft Word actually adds the information in the correct APA referencing format. And that's how you add APA referencing to a Microsoft Word document. Thank you for watching.
Referencing is important when completing research assignments, as you must acknowledge the author or authors of the information that you are using. This helps ensure that you do not steal or plagiarize the work of others by claiming that it is your own. Referencing also helps the reader find the original source if they wish. Furthermore, using referencing in your work helps to add authenticity to your argument, because it shows that you have read widely and from reliable sources. You need to reference within the text of your assignment, and also include further details in your reference list or bibliography. Let's explain some of the key terms used when referencing. A bibliography is a list of all the sources that you have consulted to complete your assignment, such as books, web pages, newspapers, journal articles, and so on. You may not have used all the sources in your final assignment, and some of the items you list may only have been used by you as background reading. Most of the time you will be required to create a reference list. This is a full list of only the sources that you have referred to throughout your assignment using in-text referencing. The purpose of a reference list is to enable the person reading your assignment to locate and verify the information that you have provided. When including web pages in your reference list, please note that the URL alone is never enough information for your reader to find your sources, as URLs can change over time. Providing the author, date, and title of the web page in your reference list means that the reader has a greater chance of finding the information even if the URL no longer works. You will need to refer to each item from your reference list throughout your assignment as well. This is called in-text referencing or in-text citations. An in-text citation or reference usually contains two pieces of information only: the surname of the author or authors of the source that you are using, and the year of publication. The surname or surnames and the year should be separated by a comma. A page number is also needed if you use a direct quote from a book. That is, if you have used quotation marks to quote words exactly as they appear in your source. If you have used a book and have put the information in your own words, also known as paraphrasing, you do not need to include the page number in your in-text reference, but the author of the book and the year is certainly still needed. In-text citations need to be included inside a pair of brackets, either within the sentence or at the end of the sentence. Note that the full stop comes after the brackets if the in-text reference is at the end of the sentence. The information you provide in your in-text referencing provides just enough detail so that the person reading your assignment knows which entry in your reference list you are referring to, and, from there, where the reader can verify the information you have provided. In-text referencing should look something like this. Note that if you use the author's name or the year of publication within the text of the sentence, you do not need to repeat these details in the brackets at the end of the sentence. The most common question from students is, what do I need to reference? You must reference both ideas and information. For example, you must reference data, statistics, tables, direct quotes, and the opinions and ideas of other researchers and knowledgeable people in the field which you are studying. You do not have to reference what is known as common knowledge. This is somewhat difficult to define, as what may be common knowledge in one field will not be in another. Essentially, however, common knowledge is what most people who study a particular topic would be expected to know, and which has the status of established fact. There are numerous methods of referencing. You will need to use the APA style. Microsoft Word has a built-in tool to help you. This video will show you how to begin and how to set up your reference list or bibliography. To begin, find the References tab in the top ribbon of Word. Among other things, you will notice that you can create a table of contents, footnotes, citations, and bibliographies or captions under this tab. The one that you will use most will be Citations and Bibliography. Check that the style is set to APA. When you have done this, select Manage Sources, then select New. You will notice that the type of source box will be illuminated. The most common source types that you will most likely need are book, website, journal article, more likely in the senior years, or book section, which means that, for example, when chapters of a book are written by different authors. Let's begin with book. You will need to look in the first couple of pages of the book you wish to reference for a page which looks something like this. This page gives you all the details that you need. First, find the author or authors of the book. In this case, there are 3 authors. You must include the names of all authors separated by a semicolon. Ultimately, it is the author's surname and first initial only that will appear in your reference list. Note that there are examples for how to set out each field provided at the bottom of the form. You must complete the form with details of the book title, year of publication, location, and publisher. Click OK, then close. Continue to add each reference in this way as you complete your assignment. The structure is a little different for web pages. Before I explain how to add a web entry using the word referencing tool, let me explain the term corporate author. When you are researching, you will come across 2 broad categories of authors. The most common will be individuals. This means that the source that you are using has been written by someone who has both a first and a last name, for example, Jane Smith. The other broad category is corporate author. This means that the source that you are using has been written by someone within a company or government organization, for example. You may not know their first and last name, so you will need to use the company name. Within Word, if you are using a source written by a corporate author, you must ensure that you click the Corporate Author checkbox, which is located underneath Author. To begin adding a web page to your reference list, click on References, then Manage Sources as you did earlier. Select Website in the Type of Source field. I have decided to use this web page to demonstrate how to add a website to your reference list. You will notice that the web page does not have an individual author, so I will need to use BBC News as the corporate author. Click the Corporate Author box and add BBC News as the author. This is the point that you need to be particularly careful. You will notice in this APA guide to referencing web pages that you need to include the author, year, title of page, and the URL when adding a web page. You do not need to include the date that you access the web page unless the material may change over time, for example in the case of a wiki. You may need to refer back to this video for the first couple of times that you add a web page to your reference list. Go back to your form now and add year, name of web page, and the URL. You may include the month and day the article or web page was created if those details are provided on the web page you are using. Note that the name of the web page is the title at the top of the web page. Also note that the year can sometimes be hard to find on some web pages. Try to look for the copyright sign, which often has a year after it. This may be located at the bottom of the web page in small print. If you cannot find a date on the web page, write ND in the year field or leave the year field blank and Word will add the ND for you. ND stands for no date. You do not want to have too many of these in your assignment because it is hard to verify how up-to-date your information is if you do not know the date that your sources were published. Other common items you will need to include in your reference list include chapter in a book, journal article, newspaper and magazine articles, video or DVDs, YouTube videos. Note that you should use YouTube videos carefully in your assignments. Many are produced by people who you do not know the credentials of, so you need to consider their reliability and therefore the usefulness and validity of the video very carefully. When you want to create your reference list or bibliography, click on Bibliography and select References or Bibliography from the drop-down menu. If you add any additional sources after you have inserted your reference list, you will need to click on Update Citations and Bibliography at the top of your reference list. Note that the first line of each reference list entry is aligned at the left indent. Any subsequent lines of each reference list entry are indented by one tab stop.
بعد مشاهدة هذه المقاطع التعليمية من المهم التذكير أنه لابد من ممارسة ذلك ولابد من التمرين واستخدام المراجع في البروبوزل بشكل فعلي. واعلموا أنه ربما في البداية تكون هناك صعوبات لكن بعد ذلك تكون العملية سلسة وسهلة. هذا مسار لابد أن نمضي فيه، هذا تمرين لابد أن ننجزه، وهذه مهمة يجب أن نقوم بها. لأي سؤال أو استفسار لا تترددوا في سؤالي بشكل مباشر عن كيفية كتابة مرجع معين، كيف يمكن أن نحصل على بعض المعلومات، أرقام الصفحات، كيف يمكن كتابة بعض المراجع التي ربما تحتوي على 3 مؤلفين أو أكثر، كيف يمكن كتابة الكتاب كمرجع، كيف يمكن كتابة موقع إلكتروني معين كمرجع. أتمنى لكم التوفيق وإلى أن ألتقيكم في محاضرات قادمة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.